up, everybody? I am here with Will Biles, creative director on Until Dawn. Will, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, what are we going to see right now?
Okay, so let's start the demo up. What this is, I'll give you a quick outline of Until Dawn. Until Dawn is an interactive horror game. It's basically like a big horror movie, but you choose what goes on. You're the person, you play all 8 different characters that are stranded up on this mountain. Just as sort of kind of a setup, everybody in the game can live, everybody can die, and when you're dead in this game. So there's no kind of respawn, there's no save game you can go back. We're joining a couple here. This is Emily and Matt. They're stood on top of a huge precipice. There's a bunch of slightly mental deer in front of them. I don't know which one we've started on this, because we've got a bunch of different save games on here. This looks like these deer are going to be quite aggressive. That means that a whole bunch of stuff went on earlier. You have an axe in your hand here. You could have just gone and hit that deer with an axe. We chose not to do that just now, so it's just a choice. If you had have chosen to do that, the story would have branched dramatically at that point, and we would be going down a very different route now.
So any little thing you do
Any
on the
little
fly
thing you do, yeah,
will change the story.
completely.
Amazing.
What we do actually is when that happens, there's a little butterfly kind of ripple across the screen. That's kind of the butterfly effect. We're calling that butterfly effect, and that's like the chaos theory thing. You know, when there was one there. Again, he just did it there. It's the chaos theory that one tiny action has huge potential repercussions. So we had it. That was a choice that we made that changed the story. We could now, I mean, not that this would happen, but we could now just be carrying on with just the girl.
It's just like that. It's that brutal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
One of the things we definitely try to do, though, is we don't want to make those choices just random choices, you know,
Right.
so because that would be unfair and that would be a little bit mean. What we're trying to do is allow the player to have an informed decision. So what we do is put a load of clues around the entire environment all the way across the game. There are clues that every time you find one will give you a little bit more information, and each time you get a little bit more information, it gives you a slightly better chance of choosing not necessarily the right way, but a way that you know what's going on.
Okay.
It's a thing where there is no right or wrong. You can't lose this game. If you get to the end and everyone's dead, that was the horror film you saw. So if you get to the end and everyone's alive, that was the horror film you saw. So it's always going to be different.
Well, that's infinitely replayable, isn't it?
Yeah, hopefully. This is an interesting thing. This is a totem. So what we've done here, see, that's slightly unpleasant there. On the back of that totem is a butterfly, a Native American symbol for a butterfly. Mm-hmm. What those symbols kind of represent is a premonition or a dream of a potential future. So when we turn that over, there's a potential future now where we know Matt is potentially going to die in a fairly gruesome way. So the decisions that you make from now on are going to be, you know, balanced. You've got that in the back of your head. So that, you know, that's the informed nature of how we play the game.
That's fantastic. So throughout this whole experience, are they also being pursued by someone? So, right.
We start the whole game off in a fairly classic way.
Yeah.
It's fairly kind of standard setup, slasher, horror. We've very purposely set it up in a way that makes all the stereotypes of normal horror come right at the beginning.
Tropes,
yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But we start that off like that because we want to get the player comfortable and go, yeah, I know what's going on here. But fairly soon we start twisting around with it and start mucking about. I mean, it's kind of 9 hours of play. So a standard slasher it would be hard to keep up the tension in that. So there's a lot more depth than we at first see.
That's wonderful. Who have you modeled your slasher on?
It's difficult to say without giving away a spoiler.
Is he a mindless slasher? Like, is he like Michael Myers, or is he more of a trickster like Jigsaw?
Do you know what? It's kind of a mixture.
Right.
There was input. We are massive horror fans.
Yeah.
Massive horror fans, and you know, we've gone through years of decades of seeing those things and bringing in those tropes and finding little bits and pieces. And it's interesting. They have this kind of horror zeitgeist thing that happens. You know, each decade has its own kind of its own fear. You know, the 50s was kind of like alien invasion, and
Yeah.
there's all that sort of stuff. 60s was a lot more kind of devil stuff and Rosemary's Baby, and then there was the 70s where there was slashers started to come in the 80s. Then there was the kind of shock horror and the gore. So all of those things, you see those come through, and we've pulled bits where we think they're appropriate into the game.
And 90s, of course, being the teen genre.
Yeah, yeah.
So where does this fit? It's just, obviously we've got young people being pursued by a murderer.
Yes.
But are you drawing on other genres as well?
Very much so, yeah. And again, it's difficult to say too much without giving away big spoilers. But yes, it's not. It won't be what you first think it might be.
I'm really curious because obviously this is a game. It's a horror game, but it also has a real sort of movie-like feel. And is that, when playing it, is that kind of the sense that you get that you're playing an sort of an interactive movie?
Completely. I mean, that's exactly what we went for. Is that all of the shots? We've got a director of photography in as cinematic to get every single shot, whether it be cutscene, which is we've tried to do seamlessly across the gameplay. So cutscenes aren't big cutscenes at the end of a section of gameplay. The whole thing. Oh, there was another butterfly effect. She found. Sorry, I just interrupted myself there.
Yeah.
She just found a flare gun. And she's given it to Matt, and that partly because we already saw the fact that Matt's got that dreadful future coming up if
So
he's
it's
unarmed.
set in stone for Matt. He's not going to have a good time.
Well, now he's got the flare gun. Maybe that's going to change. So, I forgot why we were talking before. I interrupted myself.
Oh, you were just saying that, drawing on all sorts of inspirations.
Yeah, for the cinematic thing. That's right.
The cinematic.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So we've mixed everything together. So there's no kind of cutscene, gameplay cutscene. It's kind of like performance inside a gameplay section that goes to a drama piece that and all of the entire everything you see is running engine. There's no FMVs going on in it at all. It's all running engine. But that kind of gives us the feeling that you are playing a film rather than playing a game.
I want to know a little bit more about the player. Like, what kind of feedback does the game give the player in terms of the butterfly effect? Like, how do they know when a decision that they've made has had this crazy consequence?
So obviously you've got the butterfly effect telling you that you've done something that's going to change.
Yeah.
But we also have a whole bunch of stuff. We were aware. It's an interesting thing with something like this where you can play through this entire story and you think, well, that was great, but that was one story,
Right.
because that's the only thing I saw. And we became really aware that there was a whole bunch of stuff that was really missing for the player. So we put in sections where you can go and look at the character changes, the relationship changes, the choices you've made, and how that's changed the branching. So, for instance, you can play one of the characters. At the end of the entire game, if you survive with that character, he can either be a complete hero, or he can be a complete douche. It's like and it's all down to your choices, your conversations, everything you do, and you can see how that changes in a screen. And again, same with relationships. There's conversations coming up here where Matt and Emily are about to get into a fair amount of trouble.
I feel sorry for Matt. I'm just gonna say it. I feel sorry for the guy.
And yeah, I think most people will as well. I think it depends on whether or not there's been some sort of infidelity going on. We don't know. There could have been. And whether or not he's found out about that, we don't know. Maybe he saw it, maybe he didn't. And if he did, then a whole bunch of stuff will be different later on. A bunch of the choices you can make as Matt will be very different.
Tell me a little bit about the characters in this game.
So again, what we did right at the very beginning, we went very, very, very stereotyped. We went for the sort of blonde cheerleader, that's Hayden Panettiere.
Yeah.
We went for the kind of the jock, and we did that very much on purpose to make everybody go, oh right, I know what's going on here. But actually, there's a depth of character that all of them have, and all of them can change. We've got these character arcs that go through. Entirely dependent on how you decide to play them. We had a pair of really good writers, screenwriters, Larry Fessenden and Graham Resnick. They're both great horror film directors. They wrote our screenplay for us, and they did a very, very clever job of starting it kind of cliche and gradually
unraveling it.
Yeah, really, very much so. So yeah, I mean, that's really how the characters, I think, evolve. It's hard to say specifically because they're different depending on how you play it.
This is, so some stuff is happening right now.
I know. So, okay, so what's happened is
Yeah.
they've gone up to this tower
Yeah.
to try and get help, and things have, what we say in the trade, gone horribly wrong. so someone has effectively, looks like they've broken the cables on the tower. The whole tower's gone over. It looks like it's game over here. And potentially that could be game over there, depending on what happened before.
So, if you had other characters who were still alive, well, obviously Matt is still alive.
So Matt's still there. So
the game will automatically jump to the next character.
The next character. So if somebody dies, you'll go to the next character that's
Right.
playable within the choreography and the chronology of the night. So this is like about halfway through the night. This section we're playing now. Like I said, she's still there.
Oh, she's still alive.
Like I say, this could be a section where Matt has already gone. He could be dead. So this could be a very different scene now. We have a bunch of choices coming up, and it's so interesting on this stage floor.
Yeah.
Seeing people make the different choices. Again, he's got a choice there to be. The suspicious thing is whether or not he thinks he's had an affair or not.
Right.
And it's like, she's like, what the hell are you doing? This is mental.
She's going to die. Does it really matter right now?
I know, and so there's an incredulity that we've definitely tried to keep in that. It's there are silly things that happen, but it kind of is like, but you know what? It knows that it's been a bit stupid there.
Has that been quite sort of illuminating in terms of player
Really?
psyche?
Yeah.
Like sort of seeing what kind of choices
Unbelievable.
most people go for?
We genuinely thought there's a choice coming up here. We genuinely thought, you know what? Everyone's going to go and try and save the girl.
Yeah.
That's going to happen every time. Not at all. People are really.
Oh, that's kind of awesome, but kind of depressing as well.
I know. So here we go. We've got save Emily or jump to safety. Well, old Garrett there has gone to save Emily, which is good.
Yeah.
Not bad about that. And then we put her even in more peril. So now you've got the choice again. Shall I do it again? And it's really shocking at how many people just go, you know what, I'm saving myself. I'm not going to help you. But we will save Emily. So there's a butterfly effect again there. So the fact that he's chosen to save Emily is quite a big deal. So that will change the story quite significantly. He's just a bit too late.
All his goodwill was for nothing.
Yeah.
So, say all of the characters die. Say you just screw up and everything goes wrong.
Yeah.
And I mean, how short could the game possibly
so
be?
the game, regardless of what goes on, goes from the start of the night until dawn. So
Until dawn,
yeah.
right.
So you will play. It will be around about 9 hours,
Yeah.
regardless of who lives or dies, because the story changes. Actually, Garrett, can you not shoot? So I showed you earlier that he took the gun.
Yeah.
So he's about to get into some trouble here. I'm kind of giving it away, but it's a demo, isn't it? So he's got the gun now, so he can survive this. Absolutely survive this. I've just asked Garrett to not survive, just so you can see. Oh, here he goes.
Oh, so is this our killer?
Yep. We kept him in the shadows, obviously. Certainly at this stage, because we don't want to spoil it. So now he's got a flashback of the time that she offered him the gun. So you went, oh right, that's now given me that choice.
I like that.
So you know what the cause of this was.
Yep.
If he had shot there, he'd be fine. But now he's in big trouble.
Oh.
So he's dead. That's it. He's game over for him.
That's wonderful. How gory is it?
It kind of goes that gory. So yeah, there's blood. We want to make sure people know you're dead if you're dead.
Yes.
And it's a horror. It's like I think people expect it nowadays. It's not gratuitous, but it's not tame.
Well, that's how we like it.
Yeah.
Listen, thank you so much for coming by. That was Until Dawn. For everything else E3, stick with IGN.
Thanks very much.